Previously on Clone Wars Comm Chatter.
Cat and mouse.
Anger.
Kill it, kill it, kill it.
Fear. Aggression.
Here's a call out.
And now the continuation.
So I totally blanked that this is the Clone Wars. And one of my notes says, why do all the other guys that are like nameless look the same? Why do they all look the same? The guys in the white uniforms. I'm literally sitting here saying, why do they all look the same? This is some lazy animation. Because like in a lot of animation, when you don't want to draw the crowd, you just kind of make everyone like blobs.
Yeah.
Like background, like you do the general like shape, or you make their faces blank and then like they're just in the background. It did not occur to me that they all look the same because they're clones. So all these Australian guys are running around.
The next episode in this trilogy on Christophsis we have is episode 16 of season 1, The Hidden Enemy. The fortune cookie we have is, truth enlightens the mind, but won't always bring happiness to your heart. Yes. In this one, we get a couple different things here. We have the clone trader plotline, and we have the introduction chronologically of Ventress in this series.
Yes.
Asajj Ventress, having originated in the comics and 2D cartoon that preceded this, they sort of hint at a little bit of that backstory, but they kind of make it in the way where it can sort of still be its own origin point for people watching.
Yeah, me who had no background with that specific comic or 2D cartoon, I didn't feel like I missed enough that I was lost. Like, she was introduced, and I understand where things are. Which was nice.
This is when I fell in love with Ventress. But I immediately noticed that Obi-Wan checked Ventress out. Like, she walked out and he was like, okay, is the enemy?
You know what's kind of funny is actually in a way, because probably the whole reason that moment it could even take place is because they probably just didn't want to animate the skirt.
You're right.
We also get to see Captain Rex for the first time. He's going to be a continuing clone character. He's basically the one assigned to Anakin in this series. He's actually based on Alpha from the Clone War comics, which is where the whole ARC Trooper get-up and classification originated from. They were going to make him Alpha originally. Oh, but it turns out that Lucas was concerned that with Anakin, Ahsoka, R2, and Alpha, that people would start calling them the A-Team, and so.
Oh, please call them the A-Team. That would have been cute, though.
I know, right? Like everyone can wear like a letter A, and be like, next to your Avengers or whatever, and it just be market crossover right there in the future.
Look, it's all under the Disney banner now. You can just take it. It's fine.
Yeah. Just retroactively call him the A-Team now. His name is Alpha Rex. It's also the second Captain Rex we have like in Star Wars, because Star Wars' pilot was originally also a droid called Captain Rex.
I love Star Wars.
This was also the first kind of like prequel episode they sort of made to the movie originally. The movie came out first, and they made this, and this actually aired during the first season.
Yes.
But they sort of make a nice little nod towards that, because we have Obi-Wan's line there where he's like, "The show is about to begin." Mm-hmm. So like little meta. Slight wink at the audience, I think, for people who have been following the show, to kind of give them an idea of where things are. This is also one of the first times we start seeing like the effectiveness of the regular battle droids in large numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where you can see how you could get overwhelmed.
It's just, these things can be threatening when there's 1,000 of them. Yeah.
It's very much that sort of zombie premise.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
One zombie on his own, I could probably take that, whatever. 1,000 zombies flowing through the doorway.
They didn't seem as comedic. They definitely seemed like more of a threat this time.
Yeah, this one did have a little bit of a darker tone for them, I think. There was
one of my notes says flat out, decapitation. So, they started right in with the dying. I think that
was nice and like seemingly random at first. Just like, trophy!
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
The instant they did it, I understood. Oh, they need the data in that.
It'd be funny if it's like clone Pokemon Go, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Catch them all. I got the set, boys. I got the set.
Scrunk. Oh, I got a shiny.
Oh, no.
hey, I mean, that did kind of happen. I just wanted something of this.
Yes,
And
yes.
there's a different color
right.
finger in the middle. Like, there
Yeah,
you go.
I-
Droid fingers.
They sort of make it seem like it's weird, but it's like, I don't know, with the droid, is it really that weird?
I understand why it would be, like...
If his human fingers were like,
Yes.
alien fingers.
But I understand why it would be taboo. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you guys aren't supposed to do this. But I totally understand. Like, I just wanted something of this. Like, I get that.
I'd wear a necklace of battle droid
Yeah,
fingers.
It would.
I kind of want
I
one right
put
now.
a battle droid on. I just scream.
No,
It's my new helmet.
No, just get like a baseball hat that has like the beak of a B1 droid, and then just have a finger necklace around it or whatever and stuff. That'd be great. I thought it was kind of just nice little detail too when they're sliding down the cables from building the building. It's like the clone troopers, they got to hold on there, so they're sort of like they're
sitting ducks.
sitting ducks because they use both hands.
They're
on
sliding
them.
ducks.
Anakin uses just a handle.
Yeah,
He's just like,
I can use a saber now, whatever.
Shrink.
But when there's a clone that's like pretty talented with that sort of stuff, it was like, oh, I should have thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I admit the first couple episodes where it's just like, oh, clone lives are so disposable, and I took some issue with that because like they're showing us how they're people, but no one gives a shit when they fall in battle, and then they start like
And then they start
actually
actually
caring.
showing caring as
And I'm just like, oh,
show
this
goes on.
is getting some heavy, but. Yeah, just how, there's 5 of us and we're gonna slide across, so we just lost 2. Oh. Damn, Anakin.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting comparison between the droids and the clone troopers, where they're kind of, especially at the beginning of the series as we're going through here,
There's the
it's
same.
basically, they're almost shown as being the same, even though clones are actual people and droids
Right.
aren't. But it's very interesting to see how eventually it evolves into the clones. No, these are actually people.
Yeah, well, I think they also start to highlight how the Jedi are starting to treat them as more than just clones.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
like especially this first few episodes of the series, you're seeing people, certain Jedi treat their specific troopers in ways that they're not accustomed to because they were just trained as numbers on Kamino.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they were thought to make themselves think that they were expendable, and now they're trying to like turn that back
Like,
from.
yeah, you watch a whole episode about giving them names, and it's just
Well, you were talking about the tome before too. I think this is one of those ones where maybe a little bit of it was the alternating studios working on it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I have to check my note to see which studio did this one, but it does have that kind of earlier, darker tone to it, a little less humor.
Yeah.
And there's a couple episodes later that kind of have a similar match. So I wonder really if they were the same or not. But I think that works well with the sort of zombie angle.
Yeah, there's
Like-
definitely that kind of feeling
Yeah,
to
and
it.
there's like when they're taking the speeder bikes through the city, and like the droids are creepily watching them from the
Yeah,
bridge or something.
exactly.
You get that kind of sense of doom kind of
yeah.
thing.
Oh, they're watching us. You think this building would have more security?
It's a little closer to how you may have felt about the droids in Phantom Menace at times.
Yes,
Then-
actually, that's fair.
Like Phantom Menace, like when they get deployed, you're like, oh, that's kind of chilly and kind of creepy when you see all them, get in the positions.
Yes.
But then, like Attack of the Clones, they started to be a little bit more humorous because the voices went higher. And,
Yeah.
and
I mean, a
things.
little bit with Attack of the Clones, even in Stadium and Geonosis and stuff like that, you did have a little bit of there are Jedi actually getting killed from these
True.
droids,
Oh,
but yeah.
I'm thinking more in terms of just how they portrayed the droids.
Yeah, they were
in the
definitely
world.
more humorous.
Like they had more humorous. They were showed to be still effective.
Yes.
But I think they had a little more humor in Attack of the Clones.
Whereas Phantom Menace is much
a
more
little less
straight.
Yeah. Phantom Menace, I think you only really got humor from. I could be wrong because I have to. I've been saving doing a rewatch of that till like a couple months from now because I want to do a rewatch of all the films before 9 comes out. And Phantom, there was I think just the commander droids.
Yeah.
Where like they talked a little bit more, and it's like, wait, Coruscant, that doesn't compute. You're under arrest.
Yeah.
That was the only time they were really goofy.
And even then,
rest of the
that
time-
wasn't super goofy. That wasn't like full goof. That was just kind of like how you'd almost get like a droid getting confused, going, "What?
Yeah, but it wasn't like the same as like we're gonna send them to the camps and we're gonna look for those underwater cities.
Yeah.
They sound a little bit more menacing. At the time,
that's fair too.
Just a fun little note that we have a clone named Chopper here, and Chopper is a key droid character in Rebels. So I'm guessing
I have his pin.
Dave Filoni probably just likes the name. I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
well, that's it,
Probably.
right?
I have the pin from Celebration 7.
And we'll get to that in just a moment with the next episode. But I'm wondering if, since Anakin got a nice little up close look to the tri-droids when they're escaping from Ventress, the big triple walkers or whatever. I'm wondering if that's like maybe where like it inspired his tactic that he'll use at the beginning of the film with New Padawan when it's like they jet down on top of him.
Yep.
I'm wondering if there might be an intentional connection there.
That could
possibly. And then towards the end of this episode, we also get like little quick glimpses of things that are setting up events in the film, like General Loathsome and Ventress's ship.
That's his name.
Yep.
Loathsome.
Loathsome, Grievous, Ilan Sleazebagano.
Yeah, they just love these names.
I know,
I love
right?
Ventress's like squid ship. It just here it is.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing. I think it's called a Trident, I believe, is the name of it. So we had Ventress. We see R2. We had Clone Trooper Chopper, Gus, Hawk, Jester, Punch.
It's a lot of them.
Rex, Sketch, and Slick.
I was between Sketch and Slick as the spies because them names though.
Yeah, little sketchy that guy, and he's that guy. I bet he's real slick, isn't he?
Yeah. Like in my notes, I wrote down, I don't trust Sketch, and as it turns out, I was wrong.
It'd be funny if Clone Trooper Punch, if like everyone thinks it's just like he's good at fighting, but really he just makes a really good drink.
Oh yeah, exactly right.
I will say at the end when they're doing a tussle with Slick, like, boy, I can understand why some people think Clone Troopers suck because there's one of them and he's beating the crap out of two commanding officers. Like
he's really just.
Well, some of the fight was actually kind of like it looked almost like he broke the one dude's leg.
Yes,
like,
definitely
he got up afterwards, so he's either Rex is one tough SOB or or that just like that cracked something, like just cracked armor or something. I don't know.
It looked like it broke.
Yeah,
that's what I took it as. Like, man, you just broke that guy's leg.
With the look of it too, the animation style, I think in this episode in particular, it really kind of shows the Thunderbirds inspiration that a lot of this earlier animation had. I think
that's fair.
I think they pull back on it as the series progresses, so they start to get a little more gravity to the characters.
Yes,
but you do get that little more marionette.
We were kind of
down
actually mentioning that
a
when we
little
were watching
floaty,
it, going
to it.
Oh, that's a little weird. Like it felt almost like there wasn't weight. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean the look of them too, with the kind of sort of chiseled, carved look that the character faces too.
And they're the fact that they talked basically about just moving their jaw up and down, and there was almost no lip movement.
Yeah, the real kind of thing here is like is Slick's sort of angle being the traitor clone, and how he's sort of like he's looking for freedom for his brothers, but he's doing it by killing them. And it's like it's personal freedom, but not like it's an interesting complexity to introduce chronologically this early.
Oh yeah, what I wrote for that was the one thing I do like is showing that Jedi suck. We're doing your bidding, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see points that have been kind of made by other characters being reinforced by situations here. Like, we're just doing your bidding. And some people would obviously take issue with this. Duh. So it's nice to see this reinforced.
It's nice to see it from a clone trooper, actually.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of times you'd see people saying, like...
I hate that we're that insane.
I know.
Anyway.
Aren't they adorable?
Oh, God.
Oh, there it is.
Like, because a lot of times you'll have, like, people who are not clone troopers, like, talking on behalf of them, or pointing it out, or saying this is their position on it, but you usually don't get to see the clones that much. I mean, I think maybe... I have a feeling that maybe a lot of the Republic Commando books may have gone a little more into that, because I know that was something that
I can understand.
Karen Travis was a little bit more involved with that sort of thing, but at this point, I don't think a lot of those books only a couple of those books have come out, I think.
Yeah, that's fair, too, actually.
And I think even then it was more like about other characters besides the clones, I think. It's been a while since I've read some of those earlier ones, and I never got a chance to finish the whole series.
Never finished the whole series.
I read the first two.
I don't even know
and they
if I read
started
the
kind of
first
like
two.
They started working towards that in the second one. Like the first one was like really standalone. It was really good. The second one was good too. It was more on Coruscant. Anyways, but it's interesting to see the clones themselves are not just like staying by while people are talking about them, kind of like They're just like, okay, no, he's got a point. That guy, he's got a point, yeah. Now, obviously, Slick takes it a little too far, but
absolutely.
We mentioned that the tri-droids or the Octoptera. I'm not really good at pronouncing that. Octoptera.
Yeah, that's probably
Bawi, Grinny Bomb. So that's the tri-droids. We'll just call it that. There's a combat one. There's a Magna one. So there's different sizes. Mm-hmm. There was going to be a scripted opening that was dropped involving using the LIN mining droid, which is what was used in
the
A New Hope.
Okay.
In A New Hope, the Jawa lineup, the dome on the ground with the antennas.
Yep.
That's a mining droid. So they were actually going to have them use that. in some fashion. It was like something that they were gonna call like the Beast. Like they were gonna take one of those and add like a Dalek head on it, basically.
Oh, that would have been great.
But they said they were never gonna. We never saw what it did, and it ended up just confusing the droids versus clones by having the clones use droids.
I can understand that.
That was dropped. Ventures we kind of touched on. She originally came from even though she was introduced as a character in the Clone Wars comics and stuff, she came from a piece of concept art made for Episode 2 as sort of a potential female Sith character in place of what became Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Oh, Rex has a scar on his chin and lip as an homage to Harrison Ford. Filoni had as a phrase for rogue clones as ones that have gone Django.
That's amazing.
Which I think is pretty cool. And I think he even at one point says like Rex is maybe one that's he's a little more Django than other people, which is why he's got the double guns and stuff.
Okay, that's
so
interesting.
that's like sort of his genetic thing. He didn't get the head bumping one. Lucas was the one who liked the story about a clone going bad, so he was kind of like giving the okay on that one. In this episode, they're basically revisiting Christophsis from what they built in the movie first. So it gave him a chance to expand and create that whole military base, and they came up with a quick idea or whatever to use it, and then like Lucas ended up having them literally expand the design to between 15 to 18 sizes larger than what it was originally designed to be. So it made it a lot more larger scale of the base, like a more serious footprint. One nice little footnote I think to this is in the Essential Guide to Warfare book, they have a letter that's written like by Ahsoka. And she's writing it to one of her friends back at the temple about what she's been doing since she's a Padawan with Anakin, how cool it is. And she mentions Anakin tells her about what Slick did, but only mentions that he had been paid off, not about any of the other motivations he had.
Okay.
So there's sort of a implication that Anakin and co might be kind of keeping that
hiding
to not let that disseminate. So
no, that's fair.
Whether that's actually subtext or just a way you can can read it or whatever, it's interesting to see that they might be they still have their own interests even when they're treating the clones as people, but at the same time they're like we kind of need them to be what they are. There is a weird kind of little give and take subtext there. So
hey, the Jedi aren't entirely good people. Not to damn them as
that
a whole.
Yoda's a real ass. No,
I love Yoda. I love him.
Yoda's amazing. Yoda's amazing.
He's kind of a tiny dick.
He's
a manipulative tiny green turd.
Whoa.
Look, I really do love Yoda, and I love the Frank Oz Yoda. He's
definitely manipulative, but it's great. He's great.
I love the Frank Oz Yoda. I love the Yoda we started with, and we get pieces of in Clone Wars. It's amazing. When he's shown, especially in the prequels, to just be this calculating, manipulative. It's like, hold on, back up. Yoda. So that's where this is drawing from.
Yoda knows what's up.
He does.
I mean, his look at the original trilogy. He had his plan for Luke. He was manipulating back then as well.
I know.
Oh yeah.
But it was nice to have the crazy veneer.
The fortune cookie, I don't think really needs to be elaborated on too much. Truth enlightens the mind. They're just trying to find out who the spy is.
Alternatively, since you offered just options for the first fortune cookie, you think the truth could also be the one that Slick happened upon?
Whatever that truth is.
Yeah, and does it bring him happiness? I mean, he had the supposed satisfaction of getting his message out there if it wasn't crushed.
No, exactly right.
So that's possible. There are many perspectives. There are heroes on both sides.
There are nice men on both sides, I'm sure.
Maybe.
That was like all
Grievous is a very nice man.
That was all of the sarcasm in the world that I could muster.
I'm amazing!
So first time you really see one of the clones kind of step out of bounds. The clones are all about brotherhood. They're all about protecting Camino. They're all about making sure that their brothers are taken care of. You see a lot more of that care and compassion on the clone side that you don't see on the droid side. One thing I found very intriguing about this is how quickly Anakin and Obi-Wan figured out that even though they were facing zero resistance getting to Ventress, they knew those eyes were on them. Now, these are not living beings, right? They're being watched by droids. So the question that always arises in my head, do the droids still have Force properties. So are they able to be felt by the Force? I believe so. I think that proves it right there, is that Obi-Wan and Anakin, quote unquote, feel the eyes on them.
Well, just as a footnote, though, I mean, if you're gonna go strictly by the decipher rules, droids do not have presence.
I know.
Presence 0.
Presence.
No force drain.